When my daughter was 16, I took her on a date over Paradise Island, sat her down, and I dated her as her father. And I told her, dress up, put on your long dress. I want you to put on nice clothes. And I'm gonna chauffeur you. And I took her to the best restaurant on Paradise Island, walked in there, her on my arm, just me and her, no wife with me. And all the men thought I was over the woman.
Welcome to Munroe Recaps, your go-to channel for breaking down the timeless wisdom, teachings, and life lessons of Dr. Myles Munroe into simple, practical, and powerful recaps you can apply every day.
May God give us fathers who live the future before it happens and prepares his family for it. This is true fatherhood. I put it to you that every man needs to be a father to become a father. You know that the average man in this room was never told by his father that he's a man. And yet it takes a man to make a man a man. A woman can never make you a man. That's why being brought up by your mother still haven't satisfied your manhood desire. You still need to find a man who you respect, who you can emulate, who can tell you, okay, son, it's okay now. You are a man today. That's why you got 50-year-old boys still running around our country trying to find their manhood, because there was no man to tell them, you're a man. Being in Israel last week, it was amazing to see those young boys going to worship at the wall with their fathers. I saw a father and a young boy standing there at the wall. And the father was rocking like this, just rocking, praying, rocking. And the little boy was right next to him, rocking. I see the rocking. And I'm sitting there going, that's the beauty of the Jewish man right there. You don't have Jewish boys going to prison. Jewish boys are 19-year-old running their father's business. Do you know why? Because at age 12, they go through a ceremony. All of them. At age 12, their father gives them a test. He takes them to the synagogue. And in front of all the men, the father says to the boy, today, you are a man. That's all the boy needs. When my son was 12 years old, my wife would tell you, when my daughter was 16, I took her on a date over Paradise Island, sat her down, and I dated her as her father. And I told her, dress up, put on your long dress. I want you to put on nice clothes. And I'm gonna chauffeur you. And I took her to the best restaurant on Paradise Island, walked in there, her on my arm, just me and her, no wife with me. And all the men thought I was over the woman. And they were right. I was making a woman that night. And I sat her down, opened a chair for her, and we sat there on Paradise Island. And my 16-year-old daughter couldn't wipe the smile off her face. I said, order anything you want. Anything you want. You know what she ordered, right? The highest one. I said, okay, order any drink you want except liquor. So she ordered. And we had a good meal that night, and we talked about womanly things. Listen to me carefully. Only a father could make a woman out of a girl. You keep wondering why women want their fathers? Young girls, no matter what their father, they want their father to okay them. It's because their womanhood is attached to their father, not their mother. That night, my daughter changed. At the end of it, I said, today, you are a woman. And any man who treats you less than this ain't ready for you. She was 16 years old, 16 years old. She's now 25 years old. We were together on Friday, out for dinner. My wife was sitting there. I know my wife was in shock. We hear my daughter say that. She said, Daddy, I'm still looking for this guy just like you. Daddy, I don't want nothing less than you, Daddy. And I sat there so proud. She went through college for six years. Can't find a man like her daddy. She said, Daddy, I ain't gonna touch it until I find one like you. Because that day you told me what a man is like. When my son turned 12 years old, my wife would tell you, I took him on a date, my son. I took him out, took him to a nice restaurant, had him dressed up, put on a suit, everything. just like your daddy, son. Tonight, we going out, just me and you. We went out, we had dinner, and I sat down and talked to my son about manhood, how to treat women. I said, you love women like I love your mother. You respect women like I respect your mother. And you take care of women like I take care of your mother. She wants for nothing, son. I said, and you respect women the way I respect your mother. We talked about choosing the right kind of woman, what kind of woman it is to make a man good. Friday night, he was 12, now he's 24. Friday night, he was at the table. My wife heard this. He said, you know, Daddy, I don't want to get married until I can take care of a woman, you know. I want to be just like that, you know, just like you. I want to take care of a woman. I don't want to take no. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, he got it. It ain't love that motivates him. It's the ability to be a father that motivates him. To care. That night, I shook my son's hand over the table. I said, son, at the end of the night, I said, son, tonight, to me, you are a man now. I said, so when I leave home, you're in charge of the house. And if I leave your mother and your sister with you, you are the head of the house, okay? Yes, Daddy. I said, when I leave, you make sure all the doors are locked, all the security is in, because you are the head of the house, son. You are a man. He said, yes, Daddy. My son changed in one night. He still opens doors for my wife. And he still protects her like a hawk. He protects his sister like a hawk. Why? Because that night he became a man at age 12. You never had a father who talked to you like that? I know. That's why God sent you here today on Father's Day. Because now I have to father a whole lot of sons. Some of them older than me, but they're my sons. Because they're still looking for that affirmation that women need to protect them. They need that man to say, you are a father today. Close your Bibles. I want no man to move, please. Ladies, don't disturb the men. I want to pray for the men today, that we would have a new kind of man in the kingdom today. A new kind of man. Jesus said, I only do what pleases my Father. John chapter 8, verse 42. Please read this for me loud together, please. Read it with me. John 8, verse 42. It says, read, men, read. If God was your father, you would love me. For I came from God, the Father. And now I am here. Look at Matthew 8:44. Read. You belong to your father, the devil. You want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, and he is a liar and the father of lies. In other words, you become exactly what your father is. You can become godly or devilish, depending on kind of father. Powerful father. I was thinking about this. The first thing that a father should be is an image for young men to follow. Christ says, if you know me, you know my Father. I heard a man said to me, he said, I met your son. I said, thank you. He says, no. He said, he's just like you. I said, what do you mean? He said, he's just like you. He talks like you. He dresses like you. He addresses people like you. He's smart, just like you. That made me so proud. Lady said to me, your daughter just like you. She seemed to know what to do, always seemed to have her head on right. That's good. He that has seen me has seen my Father. Can they emulate you? It's number 2. Should your children be like you, sir? Can they emulate what you do in secret? Fathers, number 3, pattern for behavior. He said, I do what I see my Father do. That's what Jesus said. his father was his pattern for behavior. Number 4, fathers provide substance and knowledge. Jesus said, I only speak what I hear my Father say. Can your children repeat your words? I was sitting on an aircraft one day. I got sick to my stomach. This young guy was talking to his mother. Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you the truth, I'll never forget that moment. This young guy was talking to his mother on the phone, and he started cursing at his mother. I'm talking about 4-letter words left and right. I had to lean over and say, sir, excuse me, sir. First of all, I don't appreciate you expressing yourself like that in public because it's affecting me physically and mentally. Thank you, sir. I said, secondly, you shouldn't talk to your mother that way. He looked at me in shock. What was amazing was his mother was having a conversation with him with that language. Let me tell you something. If he was my son, you see this hand? I would slap every word out of his mouth. But you see, he was patterning after his father. Can your children repeat the words you say? Number 5, fathers provide substance and knowledge. 6, they earn the right to be pleased. Jesus said, only do what please my Father. Let me tell you something. Every man in this room is trying to please their father, whether they know him or not. And every woman is trying to please her father, whether he knows it or not. Do you earn the right to be pleased by your father? Because I know some of you have some rough relationship with your daddy. You say, boy, my daddy wasn't that kind of daddy, Dr. Myles. I say, yeah, but you see, I'm giving you God's standards. It's now your turn. What are you going to do with your children? Number 6, Jesus said, watch this. Jesus says, my Father gave me the work to do. Can you trust your children with the work that you're doing and pass it on to them to do? Did you train them? I keep wondering about the Kellys in our country and the Albrys and these people. Their children take over their works. Only black man I know is Milo Butler. Everybody else ain't got nothing to pass on. Because somehow we just don't pass on. We don't train. Fathers entrust their children with what they develop. Number 7, fathers transfer their faith before they transfer materialism. Jesus says, I confer on you a kingdom the same way my Father conferred one on me. My Father gave me first the kingdom. Give your children the kingdom first. My son and daughter got a statement they always make around, my wife and I now. They say, Daddy, that ain't kingdom. That's their favorite statement. That ain't kingdom, Daddy. One time I go and have a little spot on my shirt. My daughter says, Daddy, that spot ain't kingdom. Go change that shirt. I say, wow, she got it. I gave them the kingdom. They're kingdom conscious. If they can go into life, I ain't got to work with them anymore. They got the kingdom first. You give your kid money, it'll wear away. Give them the kingdom, they'll live forever. Fathers give kingdoms. They give spirituality first. Number 8, teach them what their friends should learn. You know, I read this last night. It says, son, do not despise the friends of your father. Now what that means is if your father's a good father, you want to get to know his friends and respect them. Your son should respect your friends if you are a righteous father. By the way, it goes for the negative too. If you are a negative father, your sons and daughters will use your negative friends to justify what they're doing. But your friends do it, so why can't I do it? See? In other words, if you are a good father, they should respect your good friends. Your friendships affect your fathering. Number 9, be an example of hard work. Jesus said, my Father is always working, therefore I work. Wow, what an example. My father's always working, therefore I work. Are you a good example of hard work so your sons and daughters can say, look, hard work is good because my father is a hard worker? They should get it from their father. The average person in here probably gets it from their mother. She's killing herself on 2 jobs trying to make ends meet, and that is not the way God planned it. But she has to do it because there's no foundation. God forbid. Finally, number 10, a father should reveal yourself through your thoughts. Jesus said, I have taught you what my father taught me. Can you have your children transfer what you know to their friends? That's fathering. I heard someone say years ago, it says, you don't prove your parenting by how your children come out. Your parenting is proven by how your grandchildren come out. If you want to know if you are a good parent, check your grandchildren. And if they curse in dirty words, something went wrong somewhere. That means your son and daughter teaching them some stuff that you didn't teach them. He says, I receive from my father, therefore I give to you, he says. Your father should be the transfer of information to your friends. May God give us fathers that are kingdom fathers.
Thank you once again for connecting to our channel, as we hope that the message you've listened to was a great blessing to you. We would love to have you back, so do well to like, to share, and subscribe. We celebrate you.